It's a Shawshank Redemption test. If you're not willing to crawl through however many yards of shit Andy Dufresne crawled through, heads up, you're probably not going to make it as an entrepreneur, and the markets are going to actually rip your face off.
If you lost everything tomorrow,
okay,
everything, which, man, they come in and they take the shuffleboard table that I was lucky enough to beat your butt on a couple of times.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you do to start like stacking your wealth over this next year? On a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan, if you lost everything today, what would be your plan?
Well, first I'd ask for 2 more days to think about this so I could really scheme it out. Like the old adage of if I got to chop a tree down, give me 7 hours to sharpen the axe and 2 hours to cut it down, whatever the analogy is. I would try to think it out through strategically, right? And that after I get my plan or my scheme to kind of take over the world, since I'm dead poor, right? I would probably go work for someone else real quick, someone that would be successful in the surrounding area. And I would work in the weekends on my side hustle to figure out what I'm going to do. And I would try to figure out who is the wealthiest person in my area and see if I can go help them do something, right? If I can show them that I could put more money in their pocket, they can probably teach me what they're doing. As I'm doing that, I would always try to be figuring out where is my interest at, not my passion. Like I said, I'm passionate about eating pizza and watching Lord of the Rings on Netflix, right? And nobody's going to pay me for that. But if you could figure out something that you were interested in that will hold your interest for a long time, you can probably turn that into a business. One of the best hacks in the world is watch Dirty Jobs. Dirty Jobs. A lot of people don't know this, but 75% of those cats are multimillionaires on Dirty Jobs. Nobody else wants to do that crazy shit that they do. But sucking out a septic system, if it puts 8 figures in your pocket, what does it really matter? I would laugh all the way to the bank just sucking out the septic systems and stuff.
Heck yeah.
So I would start there, and then I would figure out like how to turn that into a business, and then I would just leverage that on the next thing and leverage that on the next thing and take a portion. I would start with business first because I always think that business is your best return because you're betting on yourself, whether that's in an actual business, an online business, or investing as an angel. And then I would do the trading and investing thing probably second. But a lot of people right now, they like it because there's new trading apps like Robinhood and Webull and all that good stuff. And they're letting them do fractional shares. It makes sense. Just be careful on that stuff because, you had the Robinhood thing. They weren't really liquid and they got in a little trouble there letting their people, you can sell, but you can't, or you can buy, or you can't sell, whatever they did to them. It'd be tough though. I mean, and then I would do that and just leverage that off. And I would do the exact same thing that I did the other style. I would just try to get out of the labor jobs quicker rather than slower. But man, I think that's how you learn how to grind it out, right?
Yeah.
When I was working at Labor World and couldn't rub 2 pennies together, and it's me and all the other labor workers going to clean out a factory or a frame shop or clean out Toyota. Like I was getting paid a little bit better than minimum wage, but that just makes you like say, I don't want to do this shit for the rest of my life. Yeah. And then you figure out like, there's gotta be another way to make money. And then you'll just figure it out. But you do have to be interested in it. You don't have to love it. There's tons of stuff. Hell, I don't love probably 70% of the stuff I do. I probably love 30% of it, but the other 70%'s got to be done or it's not going to work.
I agree. Like, just to add on to that, I think like work ethic is, especially in like this culture that we're trying to teach people, like less is more. And I think like the big separation that's going to happen is that old school just grind it out and hustle. Because like the passion's going to happen at some point, something's going to click. But like, that's really what was the common denominator for me. I felt like that separated me for those like years that I was on the come up before it clicked was I was willing to put in that extra shift. Like there was this one time where I think I was like 19 years old and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And I just went into this like crazy work mode where I was working at UPS at like 3:00 till like 8:00 in the morning. Then I was working at Applebee's doing the like morning shift. And then I was working at the radio station in the afternoon. And like, I just felt like, man, like if I'm working, something's going to happen. And each time,
Right.
like something would open up, and sure enough, one thing led me to the other. And what it really taught me was, the discipline side of things, because even today, right, in our business, like there's times where it just gets hard. It just is like, we don't always have the answers. But I think without having those past experiences, you now have a formula to just punch through. And like at some point, like, hey, look, the answer is going to come, but I got to keep going through my process of that, playbook A, playbook B, playbook C. But if you don't create that playbook by putting in the work now, then you've got nothing.
I agree with you. I think one of my pet peeves is when people ask me for business advice, I'm like, look, just do something. I don't even really give a shit what it is. Just do something. Like, don't play business. I got to design my logo. I got to come up with a name. I got to get stationery and a business card. So that's great. You're playing business. How about you go sell something first? Right. Let's do a minimum viable product. I think one of the best ways, if I had to do it all over again, I wish I would have done a door-to-door sales job. If you can
Really?
sell door to door, I think you can sell anything, right? So then I think that just helps you. And it's got to be a good product, right? You can't sell crap. It's got to be a good product, but that just teaches you how to eat or take a heater to the forehead 200 times a day, or how to just eat shit, right? It's a Shawshank redemption test. If you're not willing to crawl through however many yards of shit Andy Dufresne crawled through, heads up, you're probably not going to make it as an entrepreneur, and the markets are going to actually rip your face off. And it's all hard. It's not easy, but man, if you can figure it out, I mean, it's quite lucrative if you can figure it out.
And like that's what I think, like one of the biggest value bombs you dropped was like, you just got to start, right? Like you got to do something.
You got to make decisions, and you'll get really effective at making decisions. The thing that I wish I was better at is I suffered from perfection syndrome a lot. It's got to be perfect, or I don't want to do it, or I'm
still suffer from that now, my friend.
Yeah, and, or I got to do enough research to make sure I'm picking the perfect tool or the perfect whatever. I love research because it's my way to go down a rabbit hole of not making a decision, right? But the longer you do it, the quicker you get at it. Like, all right, let's just decide this. It may not be right or wrong. If we're wrong, we'll figure it out. We'll choose the other thing 3 months from now.
Yeah. Like no decision is a decision. And I think that's what I've learned from like management as well, is that it's not about making a wrong or right decision. It's about like having the courage to just make a decision, stick with it, and then not having the ego to, like, if you're wrong, like, whether that plays out a week from now, 3 months from now, be like, okay, look, it was the wrong decision. I'm going to learn from that. Let's move forward and keep going.
I agree. I mean, that's really why I've paid so large amounts of sums to masterminds, is to learn from other people's success. Like, you can go, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Or like, okay, well, don't do this and this and this, because that's really going to end in a horrible disaster for you, because I've already done it 4 times. You're like, thank you. That's really why you pay it for. And then the other stuff is like, they'll teach you how to level up your game in whatever you're trying to level up in. But it's really just to avoid other people's mistakes.